is still considerable wilderness and wildlife in South America, and if you explore southern Chile, you will find a special island just off the mainland. Chiloé Island is the second largest island in Chile. It is reached by ferry. It's along this coast that the Humboldt Current runs close and brings upwellings of nutrients and much life. Just off the coast, out of sight, a high diversity of pelagic birds takes advantage of these nutrients. Many species of albatross, Inca terns, gulls, and this nice pink-footed shearwater can easily be seen on a trip offshore. The western side of Chiloé receives the wind coming across the wide Pacific and is wild and rainier. The eastern shores are in the rain shadow and are much warmer and drier and have many bays and numerous small islands. Chiloé is known for its rain and has one of the few temperate rainforests. The first peoples of Chiloé, the Chono, didn't survive European disease and conflict and went extinct by the late 1800s. The Mapuche tribe replaced them soon after. The Mapuche culture is alive and well. This report reflects on how life was in the 1940s.
The port of Castro is on the island of Chiloé, where the real South Chile begins. Charles Darwin, who was here in 1834 on the famous voyage of the Beagle, made this statement: Chiloé is an island of little sunshine and much rain, where the people live mostly on potatoes, pigs, and fish. Sunny days are rare in a land that is drenched with 100 inches of rain each year. As for the Chiloé potato, it is still going strong after a history reaching 4 centuries into the past. Potatoes first came to Europe from this very island, though we now believe that the Incas brought them here from Peru and Bolivia. Shipment of potatoes from Castro to the rest of Chile is a thriving business.
Chiloé is still home to a variety of potatoes, and the city of Castro has grown to some 35,000 inhabitants, some of whom live in these famous stilt houses called Palafitos. All that rain and cool temperatures resulted in the Valdivian temperate rainforest. This unique forest is characterized by an understory of bamboos and ferns. The canopy is dominated by evergreen angiosperm trees, but there are some deciduous species and conifer trees are common too. Darwin pointed out long ago that the Chukao frequents the most gloomy and retired spots within this damp forest. The Chukao tapaculu is a beautiful forest bird that is emblematic of the temperate rainforests of Chile and Argentina. More often heard than seen, the black-throated wet-wet lives in the same dark, damp forest, but is partial to bamboo. The wet-wet has the ultimate stealth escape move. Desmir's wiretail is another bird that likes bamboo thickets and is difficult to see. The ochre-flanked tapaculu is yet another bird that likes bamboo thickets and hops around on the ground. And guess what? So does the Magellanic tapaculu too. Chimango caracaras and the southern house wren are found in more open areas. The Patagonian Sierra finch is actually a tanager. The green-backed fire crown is the only hummingbird in the southernmost part of South America. It has the whole place to itself, so it's fairly common, and feeds on anything that has nectar, especially the native fuchsias. This large-leaf gunnera was rare when Darwin visited, but has flourished as deforestation opened up the landscape. The stalks are eaten by the locals. The rufous-legged owl is fairly common, but rarely seen. And the monito del monte is a very rare marsupial of an ancient lineage. The southern pudu is the second smallest deer in the world. It is native to the Valdivian temperate forests of south-central Chile and inhabits both mature and disturbed forests. It does browse on vegetation in open areas. The pudu is rare and threatened with extinction. It was Darwin that pointed out that the white-crested Elania is the most common bird in the forest. A variable hawk snags a mouse, and this Corondata pipit snags a dragonfly. Chilean swallows are very common. Today, Chiloé is a mix of traditional native culture and modern culture. Darwin's fox is an endangered canid, and Chiloé is its last stronghold. On the other hand, Chilean pigeons are common, as is the eared dove. Brown-headed gulls are nesting in this estuary near the coast. At times, one can find large flocks of black skimmers and various species of gulls. A sei whale is one of the Earth's most magnificent creatures. The dusky dolphin prefers cool currents and likes inshore waters where it hunts fish and squid. The Chilean dolphin, or black dolphin, is endemic to Chile. In this species, if a member of the pod is sick, healthy pod mates take care of it. Thousands of Hudsonian godwits overwinter here. People have fished these waters for thousands of years, and red-legged cormorants for millions of years. In the many marshes on Chiloé's east coast, bird life is diverse, but sometimes it's difficult to see some of its more spectacular species, like the many-colored rush tyrant. The wren-like rushbird has a steady, hard ticking call, but that doesn't seem to help in locating it. The tufted tit tyrant is so active it always looks disheveled as it constantly flits in the shrubbery. The yellow-winged blackbird is found around water and breeds in colonies and feeds on the ground. The rufous-tailed plant cutter actually does cut grass, even on lawns. Red luga seaweed is dried on the beach, then sold to factories on the mainland that extract products for the food processing and pharmaceutical industries. On Chiloé, 2 species of seaweed are used in soups and stews. The marine otter is a rare and endangered resident of the coastal waters of Chile and Peru. They feed on crustaceans, mollusks, and fish. Marine otters are more related to river otters than the northern sea otter. Three species of penguins can be seen on Chiloé. 2 have breeding colonies, and the southern rockhopper just comes for vacations. The Magellanic penguin never challenges a rockhopper to a jumping contest. The breeding colonies on this island have become quite the tourist attraction. The penguin on the left here is Humboldt's penguin. The coast is shared with kelp geese, Peruvian pelicans, and blackish oyster catchers. There's nothing more impressive than a colony of southern sea lions. 2 flightless steamer ducks stroll the beach, pondering why they can't fly. Jesuit missionaries went berserk building churches in the 17 and 1800s, and today there are still some 150 wooden churches that many have World Heritage status. Chiloé's marshes and wetlands are a great place for birdwatching. Just look at these black-necked swans. A Chilean hawk is looking for something. Even the secondary forests of Chiloé are dark, damp, and gloomy, but there is life there, and on a rare sunny day, birds appear from nowhere, like this white-throated tree hunter. The hard-to-find Magellanic woodpecker is spectacular. According to Darwin, the thorn-billed rayaditos are the watchdogs of the forest. Here, a striped woodpecker looks for some juicy insects. Juvenile austral thrushes seem to be everywhere, but the endangered cola is a tiny spotted cat that hardly anyone sees. The slender-billed parakeet has a unique long-curved bill and feeds in trees and on the ground in noisy flocks of 100s and even 1000s. The grass wren is a successful, widespread species, and an austral negrito is in contrast to the introduced lupin. Oh look, a fire-eyed diucon. From the middle of the 19th century to the beginning of the 20th century, Chiloé was the principal producer of railroad ties for all of South America. And today, logging is still a big part of life here. In the 19th century, Chiloé was a center for foreign whalers, particularly French whalers. Whaling declined in the 1960s and ended in 1983 when the last processing factory in Chile was closed. Today, Chiloé is a center for whale watching. At the end of the 20th century, Chiloé began to change as its ocean resources were opened up to fishing and aquacultural companies, and the economy changed from one of farming, subsistence fishing, to one of working for low wages for companies, especially for salmon farms. Besides disrupting traditional lives, especially indigenous peoples, salmon farming causes water pollution, habitat destruction, and the spread of diseases. But salmon farming has become an important part of the modern economy. Most of the tall primeval forest that Darwin experienced here on Chiloé are gone, but there is still plenty of nature to appreciate on this unique island. Chiloé National Park protects 43,000 hectares, and there are also major private conservation projects.